Hey everyone, Backyard Farmer Pat here. So I am walking through my garden and I noticed that my tomato seedlings are looking like they're just about ready to be planted. So today we're going to talk about when is the right time, how to know when it's the right time to transplant your tomato seedlings. We don't want to transplant them too early or too late. We have to transplant them at the right time to optimize the growth. So right here you'll see I have four different kinds, well, three different kinds of tomatoes. These are actually, these ones here are cucumbers, but the rest are tomatoes. So here we have our Brandywine tomatoes. And I was really trying to just put two seeds, but as you can see, I'm a little bit heavy on my hand. So far, four seedlings have come up. Right in front of it, we have which ones are these? These are the red tomatoes, the red cherry tomatoes. And right behind here we have black cherry tomatoes, and at the front we have some cucumbers that aren't quite ready yet. So how do you know when to plant your tomatoes, or transplant your tomatoes? At this point, these tomatoes are definitely ready to be transplanted, and the reason I know is because they have gone beyond just the first two set of leaves. When tomatoes first come out, they look basically, they all plants kind of look the same. All my veggies look the same. You see how these peppers look, where it's just two leaves? Those are like the baby leaves. Those are the primary leaves, just two leaves. But then once the second set of leaves come out, those are I call them the adult leaves. Don't know what the proper name is. Once the first set of true leaves, they call it the true leaves, come out, that's basically when they're ready to transplant. Some people leave them in here for a while, but once the first set of true leaves come out, that means the plant now needs more nutrition. So if you planted your seeds in like a sterile soil, like a peat moss or vermiculite or one of those soil, or coconut coir, something that doesn't have any nutrition, at this point, when after that's gone past the first two set of leaves and it has its true leaves, so once they have their first set of true leaves, that means they now need true good nutrition, right? So when there were seedlings with just the two baby leaves, all the nutrition they need was in the seed, so they were fine. But then now that they've gone beyond that, and that they now have their true set of leaves, they need to get some fertilizer in there. They need to get into good soil so it can start growing. Maybe hit it up with some fish emulsion, some bone meal to help the development and help it to start flowering, which is a little bit too soon. So the first thing we can do, we're still in February, so if you're in a colder climate, you may not want to plant it outside yet. You might want to up pot this. But because I'm in Central Florida, it's pretty warm. I'm gonna separate these and plant them directly in the garden. So first of all, if you look at the bottom, you can see this is really ready. This has roots all the way down to the bottom. Planting them in a bigger pot is not a bad idea. If you guys saw my video that I did just I think a week or two ago about the best way to plant tomatoes. Tomatoes have these little fine hairs along the stem that actually can become roots, and the deeper you plant them are the better the roots. So I could actually transplant these into a bigger pot and wait until they develop more stems so I could plant them deeper. But I can also do that after I plant them into the ground. So I'm gonna take these out of the pot now, and what I'm gonna do is separate the five plants and then transplant it into the garden. So I'm gonna gently put my hand over it like this and gently squeeze the sides so it comes out. And wow, see, this has some great root formation, but I can see it was getting a little bit of waterlogged. There's a little bit of fungus on the bottom. So what I'm gonna do now, oops, is very gently separate them. So that's one that just fell off. Gonna just very gently separate it like this. And if the roots get damaged, it's okay. Tomatoes are extremely hardy, and I'm actually gonna plant these a lot deeper because as I said, all along the stem, it will grow additional roots to make the plant stronger. So now that I've separated these, I think what I'm going to do is I already dug 5 holes to put these in, or 4 holes actually. What I'm going to do is talk about what we're gonna put in the soil. So tomatoes, they love bone meal, right? So I have bone meal, which is very high in phosphorus. So you see that number, bone meal 2170. 2 is a 90 is a nitrogen, which develops leaves. 17 is a phosphorus, which develops flowers, fruit development. So of course, when you think about it, tomatoes, peppers, those things, they develop the flowers first and the fruit. And it also has some, well, it has no potassium in there. So it says right here, it promotes early root development and early growth. So that's really great. I'm also gonna put some tomato and vegetable herb fertilizer. Even though it already has, this probably has a lot of potassium in there. Let's check. So yes, it does have some nitrogen and some phosphate and a little potash, which is like potassium. All right, so let's go ahead and plant this out. I'm also, for the first time, gonna try something new. So I'm not recommending this, I'm just gonna let you know I'm trying something new. I heard about this product called mycorrhizal inoculant, and it's supposed to help the plants, the roots, to take up the nutrition. So it's all well and good that I'm adding nutrition, but I want to make sure that the roots are healthy and it takes it up. So this says promotes vigorous plant and root growth, decreased amount of water and fertilization needed, and enables the soil to retain nutrients. So I'm gonna try this. I'm not recommending it by any means. I'm not even gonna show the name, but I'm gonna try this. What I did was I took like a teaspoon and I lightly dusted the inside and dusted the hole, each hole. So let's go over and put these tomatoes in their holes. All right, so here's where I'm gonna plant my first tomatoes. Of course, these tomatoes are indeterminate tomatoes, so they will get very large. They will have a pretty large vine. So I'm gonna be building a trellis, but for now they're still very small. So I'm gonna go ahead and plant this. So the first thing I'm gonna use is a little bit of this tomato and vegetable herb fertilizer, and it says here, let's see, for new plantings, 1 1/3 cups per 10 square feet of a growing area. For containers, use 1/2 cup per 5 gallons of potting soil. So of course, I am just planting a very tiny plant, so I'm just gonna put 1 teaspoon in here. The wonderful thing about this is that it's organic, and a lot of these organic fertilizers, you don't really have to worry too much about harming the plants. I'm putting like a little dust of, this is like less than 1/2 teaspoon of the bone meal. So let's go ahead and plant this. So you can see I'm gonna plant it all the way down because there are gonna be more roots growing along here. Then I'm just gonna backfill the soil. As the plants go in and the roots develop, the roots would hit all that nutrition, all those nutrients that I just placed in it. And because I lightly dusted with that macro, what's it called, that thing I just showed, that inoculant, I'm hoping that the roots will be very healthy and it will help the plant to uptake the roots. So I'm going to be watching this to see how well this grows compared to my other tomatoes that I planted last week. You can see, like for instance, this is significantly bigger. I did not put any of that inoculant on it. So I'm gonna see how quickly this little seedling catches up. That will be a really good test to know if it really worked or not. That was a store-bought tomato, and this is my seedling. I was just being impatient, and plus, I saw some at the store that I didn't have seeds to go with, so I always love to try new things. So I'm trying the store-bought one, but I'm gonna have tons of tomatoes because I'm planting 5 seedlings, and these are gonna give me a ton. So let's move on. I'm actually gonna plant these right in between my greens. So on the other side is where I planted that one determinate tomato. That's facing the east. That's the east right there. So the sun is gonna hit these, and then that's south. So the sun is gonna hit this front row first, which is fine. These are the lower plants, the greens, and that determinate tomato. That's only gonna probably go to 3 feet. So what I'm gonna do here is plant three of my tomatoes along the back row, because so that way the sun will cross over the shorter plants and then still hit the taller plants, the taller tomato plants. And then by the time we get later into the spring and the summer, when it gets really hot, those tomatoes are gonna offer a great shade for my lovely, lovely bok choy. I mean, no, mustard greens, for my lovely mustard greens and my other veggies. So let's go ahead and continue planting. All right, so they're planted in, and as you can see, I planted them all the way up to the very top petals. So that's going to give them a really good chance to develop a strong root system, and the stronger the root system, is the healthier the plant should be, and the more nutrition it pulls up is the more flowers and the more fruit tomatoes that we'll have. Okay, so everything is planted in. All I have to do now is water it all in. Water it well. Make sure all that good nutrition I just added flows all the way down through the roots. All the way down. Of course, these are tiny seedlings, so as they grow, they will hit up on all that good nutrition that I added. While I was at it, I just added some of my veggie fruit and herb fertilizer to my string beans and my bush beans, and I top dressed some on my tomatoes because I don't think I put any in when I planted the last set of tomatoes. So to give them a fair shot and make sure I maximize my production, not only do you plant them deep, but you make sure that they have a good start and you give them enough nutrition. All right, guys, that's all I have for today. Thank you so much for watching, and stay tuned. I have a lot more wonderful videos coming up as we plant, grow, eat, and share together. Bye now.